Hey everyone, welcome back to the First Thought Podcast, the podcast where you can discover facts, tips, and real life stories that can help you add value to different parts of your life. Thanks for tuning in and listening as I strive to help you balance your life and fulfill your purpose. Today, I will cover my interest in philanthropy and my passion for being a caring person. Being compassionate is what led me to establish the HIGH program. The organization is based on today's topic. So today I will cover my interest in philanthropy and my passion for being a caring person. Being compassionate is what led me to the establishment of the HIGH program. The organization is based on today's topics, so I figured it would be a perfect subject to discuss. Different things took place in my life that really influenced me to focus on improving humanity. You might want to stay tuned in to today's podcast that's solely about philanthropy. The word philanthropy originated in ancient Greece, and it means to have love for humanity. Helping to improve communities have always been something I wanted to do. Philanthropy is not just about helping others to reach their dreams. It's about learning, innovating, research, testing, and creating new and better ways to do things. Many people have a purpose in life, and I believe that helping people is one of my devotions. There's more to philanthropy than donating money. A great philanthropist will try to make an impact. Therefore, I use my resources to help solve permanent problems in our communities. I have been through many challenges in my life. These struggles helped build my love for helping mankind and taught me to stay humble. In the next segment, I will tell you about some of these struggles that led me to contribute towards meaningful causes. Now that you know the purpose of this podcast, it's now time to ask the First Lady. This is the segment where I provide you, my navigators, with an all-access pass into my life. Well, most of it. Through sharing my experiences and answering questions, it is my hope that you will leave enlightened and refreshed. So, I guess if I were to describe what it took to become a philanthropist, the first thing I would say is passion for a cause. I lived many years, over 30 years in Los Angeles, California, and there is clearly an epidemic of homelessness in that state. I had an opportunity to contribute to homeless people, not just during Thanksgiving and Christmas, but year-round. I felt if I had something to eat, if I had leftovers, I'd make sure to give it away. So being a philanthropist is something that is almost second nature for me. I grew up in a family that was very loving and giving. My mom always had us in church, and we were always exposed to people less fortunate. So having an opportunity to have that foundation as a child, it assured me that 9 times out of 10, I was going to do something to help the less fortunate. So I find it an honor to be able to be a philanthropist and have an opportunity to work with others that are so willing to give, that I am proud to be the founding director of the HIGH program. I guess I would say my top 3 philanthropic interests are homelessness, definitely number 1, helping children that are less fortunate than others. And I would say lastly, helping the disabled. And why? Because many of us are blessed to have means and to be able to support ourselves and not have to worry about where our next meal is going to come from. But the homeless, it's a whole different story. Oftentimes I'm driving on the 95 in different places, the 94 here in Michigan, and I see an overpass, and then I'll see someone living underneath it. And it saddens me because I know that, wow, I have a warm place to go to, but clearly this person, even at night during the summer, it gets chilly. And what about when it rains or floods? And of course, during the winter when it snows. So they're constantly on my mind, the lives of the misfortunate and unfortunate people that are either homeless or precariously housed. Philanthropy has changed my life simply by giving me the opportunity to help others. I am so blessed to be able to do what I do. and it's nothing more that I'd rather do in life. Sure, I can have a career job, I do work a lot here at the university, but what brings the most joy to me is helping the homeless students on campus. Being able to give a little bit of money to a college student that's going to help them be able to graduate and move on to a job or whatever they look to do after graduation, it brings a lot of joy for me. And if I had to name one thing that was the worst, I guess I would have to say knowing that this little bit of money is only a temporary fix to a larger problem and a greater issue. So hopefully we'll be able to solve more than just feeding them one time, but actually teaching them how to fish to survive long term. I feel that my mission here at the HIGH program connects me on every level because it allows me to give back, it helps me to see a positive outcome for the future, and it also allows me to maybe possibly change the lives of an individual. And if I had to define how the program defines success, the HIGH program, being able to sit at commencement as the First Lady and watch one of our students that I know, and me only, that we help them financially get past and cross the finish line. That is success for me. Now it's time for the beauty tip of the week. In this segment, I will show you how to apply makeup. I would say, first of all, you must start with a clean palette. So you want to make sure your face is nice and clean and moisturized. I would say after you have a moist face, make sure you use a moisturizer. I then start with my concealer. I like to put my concealer on areas that I want to minimize either dark circles or just to highlight my face. And those areas are under the eye. At that point, I put my foundation on. My foundation, I use either a solid stick, and sometimes I use liquid, but either way I use one of my blenders wet, and then I apply my foundation. I generally like to contour my face, so at that point I would use a contour that's a little bit darker than my skin tone, and I would begin to contour my cheeks and also near and around my chin and my nose. I at that point like to apply my my blush and just kind of go on the cheekbones. Not a lot, especially for daytime. I at that point will apply my eyeshadow. I do use a primer on my eyelid to make sure that my eyeliner and eyeshadow stay on long and throughout the day. So I usually do a 3-step process. I'll do light, medium, and then a highlight. I also tend to shape my eyebrows and kind of fill them in. As I age, it seems that I'm losing hair on my face. Why, I don't know. But I would say that's my process. And usually I'll add just a simple lip liner and some lipstick, or just go out with a little bit of lip gloss. I have a tendency to love long lashes, so of course I do put on my lashes. That's the last thing that I apply. I do a final spritz of spray just to keep everything in place for the day. So that's my makeup tips for you today. To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we will not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. Quote from Buddha. Before we end this episode of the First Thought podcast, I would like to leave you with some gems to get you through the rest of the week. As the founding director of an incredible nonprofit organization, I've learned a lot of lessons that have kept me motivated despite my busy schedule. One particular lesson that sticks out to me is that you have to want to help yourself before you can help others. In order for me to support many students who are precariously housed, I must first help myself by making sure that I am taking care of Jacqueline. So when it's time to work, I give nothing but my best effort, even when things are rough. Keep in mind that things could be a lot worse, so be grateful and keep pushing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. But I thank you so much for tuning in to the 6th episode of the First Thought podcast. Please, please, please rate the podcast. Very nicely, of course. And don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to submit any questions for me to answer on the show, please feel free to contact me at jacquelinewilson@wayne.edu. See you next time.